So, hello everyone who will be watching us, and hello to our guest. So, we welcome you to our final readings. These are the readings, final readings for the course uh, that was dedicated to artificial life, although it was called Writing Across Disciplines. So we were reading some texts about artificial life, and these were historic texts like Samuel Butler's Irwin um, or Gustav Meyring's Golem, but also we were reading a contemporary text that was dedicated to collective artificial intelligence, which was called Ancillary Justice by Anne Lecker. Uh, and this has inspired us to produce these pieces. So the pieces are connected with artificial life, but not necessarily directly. So what we will be reading are things that we were thinking, writing as assignments, but also simply writing and producing during this time from September to December 2024. So we hope that event will take uh, place for around a little bit less than an hour. And then I think in the end we can have a discussion, and it's both for the guests and the participants. So feel free to write your reactions in the chat, but I think maybe the order should go. So we have the reading order, and we will have the questions, comments in the end, right? So we start. Um, and before we start, I would like to ask Ola. Ola, do you want to read something? No, I am not asking you to do it right now. I just wanted to ask you if you
No,
want
I'm
to.
not prepared. So yeah, I will just listen and watch others.
Well, great. All right, this is fine. Okay. So we'll start with Anyat. You are very welcome. So if you please, you maybe can say a few words about the text. But if you don't want to, just the floor is yours.
Hey, hello everyone. My text is not really connected directly to artificial life, but it's connected with non-human life, I would say, because it's called The Little Black Dog. So it's about tough relationship with other beings on this planet. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna read. It was the worst year of my adult life. I have been crashing on my friend's couch for 2 weeks. I wake up early in the morning, make some tea, get tired, lie down, and stare at the ceiling until someone else wakes up. Then I listen to their footsteps and stare at the wall. I'm afraid of staying alone. At home, on the streets, in a taxi, in the subway, fear overcomes me everywhere, every time different, always paralyzing, making me cry. So waiting for the antidepressants to kick in while staying in a house full of dogs and cats seems like the best solution. I need a dog too, I thought, as I ran my fingers through the fluffy fur of Juliet, a black and white Yorkie. She, like a chameleon, is sticking out her hot pink tongue and has already licked me all over. You little terrier face, I said, smelling the meat-scented whiskers of Julie. What will I do with the dog? You have to walk it, feed it, play with it, and I can barely manage my morning tea. On the other hand, life will get better. We'll go everywhere together, have fun, dance, swim. My friend said it's not that simple and training is needed. But I was sure my dog will be naturally gifted. I like things to be perfect. And when something doesn't go as planned, tears, helplessness, thoughts of death, I've crashed on this ship many times, and it feels like I'll crash again, unless the dog fixes everything. I had been checking out different dogs, and after 6 months of searching, I received a photo of a little black dog. the perfect size, a charming smile. Her rescuer told me the next car from Sochi to Moscow was in a week. I was lying at my parents' house with a broken leg, but agreed without hesitation. Soon enough, I was standing on crutches in a huge, almost empty parking lot. My dog came flying out of a pickup on crooked little legs with her mouth wide open. I got down on my knees to pet her, and she lay down belly up. How cute, I thought, not realizing that she wasn't trying to charm me like I usually do with new people. She was simply scared. We came home, and this tiny creature followed me into the bathroom. I burst into tears. Her gaze was adorably sweet and clumsily naive, and started Googling how long dogs live. Of course, I knew how long dogs live, but I couldn't believe that for the next 15 years I would be responsible for this little black something. Now I really couldn't afford to fall into depression. In fact, I probably can't have such a horrible depression anymore. I can recognize it early now. And what kind of depression can you talk about when you live in your lovely apartment with your little black dog? Our stable life together with Tara didn't last long, and within a year we were gathering documents to move to Germany. The flight was a huge stress for Tara, the soundproofing in the new apartment, terrible, and my neighbors, true Germans. So within a couple of days, they complained to my landlords about Tara's bark. I cried and wrote in my journal how much I hated my dog. I could have hated the neighbors, the German laws stating that dogs can bark no more than an hour a day, but not from 12 to 3 p.m. and not from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. and certainly not on holidays and Sundays. My rental contract, which stated that if neighbors complained, I could be evicted. But instead, I hated my dog. My hatred grew, burning everything around it, and I found that every thought in my head led me to death. My girlfriend even came up with a system of fines. Every time I said I wanted to kill myself, I had to send her 10 euros. Of course, I told her that considering how poor I was, it would only make me want to kill myself more, but she was relentless. It seems like suicide is a forbidden word. It makes people tense up, awkwardly giggle, or start showing pity. And I tried not to use it, but I don't know how to talk about what concerns me so deeply. Death for me is just the opposite pole of life, a place I try to stay far from, because really, I don't want to die at all, never ever, at least until the next depression. Danette Winterson writes that there is a part of her so broken that it was easier to come to terms with death than to make peace with herself. That broken part is hard to hide, and other people with similarly broken parts always seem to notice it. And my little black dog seems to notice it too, treating it with love and care. So I don't lose hope, because I love myself and wish myself happiness. I don't know where it is, happiness. Maybe in the little black ball of love that whistles when I pet her, clicks her tongue gently as she dozes off, nestled under my arm, pushes her paws against my body. Probably to her it seems big and strong. Probably she believes in me, sighing, settling more comfortably, snorting, curling up into a smaller ball. I look at her, and this planet seems a better place. She snores and her breathing is slowing. She's sleeping. She spent a year wandering the streets and pushed herself to the ground with every hand gesture made, showing her pink belly. From fight or flight, she chose freeze, and she couldn't bark even though she was already an adult. At first, she let out a squeaky yap. Then it grew into a strong woof. Such a fierce woof for such a tiny one. We're so much the same. I wanted a dog as a remedy, a motivation to live. I wanted a functional, joyful dog. I wanted to do everything with her like in those viral videos, but Tara is afraid of swimming, doesn't like dancing, barks at strangers, and vanishes if you let her off leash. It turned out that a dog doesn't save you from depression, and in the most difficult moments, I wish she would just disappear. I lie there, staring at the ceiling, thinking how much I hate my dog. I hold this warm little ball and kiss her head, while thinking how I could get rid of her. It hurts, and I hold the ball tighter. We'll get through this, my dear dog. We'll get through it all. Tomorrow marks 3 years since Tara and I have been together. I can't believe I've known her for so long. I look back at photos and videos from our first meeting and realize that I used to see her differently. She seemed funny, small, fragile to me, and now I notice how defined her muscles are, how uncompromisingly she demands to be petted, how she explores areas with a hunter's instinct. I'm sorry I didn't see Tara for who she really is earlier and started truly accepting her after 3 years. But to be fair, I haven't accepted myself after 25. When we fought in my childhood, my mother would beg the Lord to send me a daughter just as difficult as I was. Tara loves freedom just as much as I do. Maybe if my mother had seen something more in me than just her daughter, wouldn't spend hours staring at the ceiling. Maybe if I had seen Tara not as my dog, but as just a little black dog, I would have stopped blaming her for my own mistakes. You see, there are 3 key points for having a good relationship with your dog, the dog trainer explained. The first is attraction, meaning that your dog likes you. In general, she already does. You two have shared interests. Tara is looking at me with loving eyes. People usually say a loyal gaze, but I think it's a loving one straight to the heart. I see the whole planet Earth in her eyes. But there is also the third point, authority. That's how much she trusts your decisions, finding them reasonable from dog's perspective. I'm sorry, my dear dog, that trusting my decisions is a bad idea. I guess this is something to work on, probably work on for a lifetime. Probably I should learn to trust my own decision first, then everything will fall into place. The little monster crawls out from under the blanket and comes to kiss me, and I can no longer see what I'm writing. I try to push her away, but it doesn't last long. She keeps licking my hands and lifting them with her nose, demanding to pet her. Come on, dog, let's go for a walk. My little black dog.
Thank you. Right. Please write your comments if you have ones, and keep your questions, and we continue. The next piece is going to be theoretical because we didn't have any particular demand for creative or theoretical texts. So some people wrote creative texts, some people wrote theoretical texts. So this one is going to be finally connected with our theme of artificial life. So Lisa, you are very welcome to take us back to the initial theme.
Thank you so much. I decided to write about human life as an artificial form of life because in mythology, humans are very often described as something that was created. And I'm exploring both Abrahamic religions and the myth of Prometheus. So, artificial life, with its enigmatic mechanisms and unsolved mysteries of its origin, was a popular theme of mythology and folk culture, attracting generations of readers, storytellers, and writers. Humans imagined artificial life long before creating it became possible with modern technological advancements. As Dr. Adrienne Mayer put it, artificial life is made, not born. But what is the ontological difference between created and born forms of life? One may argue that the fact of creation is the border between human and non-human, natural and unnatural, but the mythological origin of humankind is also described as the deed of an external force. For example, the book of Genesis narrates the creation of man with the following line. Then the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. Similar tales are present in Quran and the Torah. The divine craftsman breathes life into the first man, highlighting the special relationship of the creator and the created. However, people thought about their origins since the beginning of times, and Abrahamic religions were the first to describe the origin of humankind as divine. One of the first myths about the creation of humans is the myth of Prometheus, who supposedly created humans from clay and asked either Athena or Zeus, both higher-ranked gods, to breathe life into them. This myth strongly resembles the fables of Abrahamic religions, suggesting that the writers of sacred texts took inspiration from this myth. In the tragedy Prometheus the Firebringer, which is often attributed to Aeschylus, Prometheus brought fire to humankind, allowing them to master crafts and arts. Previously, gods took away fire from humans for their crimes, as they offended heaven. When Prometheus explains the gift, he says, "Prepare ye the foe to receive a gift, the greatest mortals ever can receive, except those gifts they cannot comprehend, one which shall give them skill and mastery over all metals and all earthly forms. For now I am prepared to scale the heavens and bring down fire, which shall keep forever." The gift separates humankind from both the animals and the gods, but doesn't fully break the special connection between humans and their creators, as Greek mythology is based on the principle that mortals cannot control their destiny. In his last words, Prometheus says, "Treasure my gift, remember well my words, and teach yourselves by labor, offering prayers to the just gods." In this tragedy, Prometheus is more of a creator of civilization than humankind itself. However, he also becomes the first martyr, as he was heavily punished by the Zeus for stealing the fire. Hephaestus, ordered to punish Prometheus, says in another Aeschylus tragedy, Prometheus Bound, "This is thy wage for loving humankind, for, being a god, thou daredst the gods' ill will, preferring to exceed in honor man." This myth strongly resembles the fable of Jesus Christ, who died for the sinners of humankind. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. However, in the Greek myth, humankind is also punished for disobeying Zeus. Pandora, another artificial being, is created to spread misfortune to the world. In the myths we have discussed so far, humans as a form of artificial life are created by gods, whose powers we cannot understand, and gods have some form of control over their destinies. Still, Prometheus' connection to humankind isn't restricted by creation or giving them fire. He also took away the ability of people to foresee their deaths. "I took from man expectancy of death," he tells to the chorus. This very well may be the gift humanity cannot comprehend, mentioned in Aeschylus' tragedy. Humans were made mortal, and the fact that their death is never expected creates a sense of urgency. It gives them power and hope to live their lives. Death is an intrinsic category of life, as life is given to humans under the condition they will die one day. Greek mythology includes some fundamental distinctions between humans and gods. First of all, unlike humans, Greek gods were born, not made, so they are what we would call a natural form of life. Secondly, gods cannot die. And, most importantly, gods have the power to create new forms of life, something ancient Greeks couldn't even dream about. People have been looking for the origin for thousands of years now, but the myth about Prometheus became one of the most influential fables in human history. Although many text sources are unretrievable, hundreds of mosaics and paintings successfully passed the test of time and are available to us today. Because of the abundance of pieces of art, we can safely assume that the myth about Prometheus was widespread in Greek and Roman societies and heavily influenced Abrahamic religions.
Thank you. That was an unexpected twist indeed. We were talking about artificial life and never really talked about humans as a form of artificial life. And certainly creation of artificial life is a gesture of competition with a god. And Lisa has brought us to the origin of the theme. Thank you. That was very sharp as usual. And please keep your questions or write them in the chat if you wish. So I also wanted to read 3 small pieces that are part of a series which is called "I Write to You from the Clouds," which I guess is connected slightly with Lisa's theme. But in reality, it means that these are texts written in the plane. Somehow, for me, plane is a place for some sorts of creative activity. So they didn't take the shape that I'm showing on the plane, and the shape that that those texts have taken is Twine software for non-linear texts, which we studied in this course. Sometimes people also create work using this tool, but this time nobody did, so I decided I'll show some of mine. So this work is sort of quite tragic. I started the series 2022, and it is related to the war and to the perception of the war, and certainly writing from the cloud means the experience of immigration, but also it relates to the events of the winter 2024, which includes tragic deaths, arrests of the friends. So despite the lightness of the original idea, somehow this grave reality also finds its place in the text. But I've been reading this text before, and people don't understand that there is something tragic in it. Maybe it's even better this way, but I decided that I'll say it. So, death in the air. In the ideal war. Machines destroy machines. Infrastructure against infrastructure. No internet against no water. No electricity against no bread. No against yes. Future against past. This was called War of Machines, and the next one is Words from Baltic Clouds. It was actually the first in the series. The story is written in the mountains by the turquoise river hand. It will be read by mountains and by the one who waits long enough to see the corpses of the enemies float by. Every Sunday, 12 return home, unresurrected. No one will read the story in Russian. Neither mountains, nor clouds, nor friends' corpses. And you can read it several ways if you make different choices. And this is the longest, and it has this story of death inside. But maybe I won't choose it. It depends on the choices of the words. Glass screens rain and makes cars color blocks. The speech is gray in the deaf mute night. Color blocks. Lake blue with water or against red sun blind of the pool serves an equal measure of the sky. I'll return. The speech is gray. The room has one glass wall, one concrete wall, one pink wall, separated by mint partition wall. She looks as if she has just had an orgasm. From the concrete cell to the casket of wood, beyond the polar circle, winter is the time to freeze, every hero to the death of his. Maybe the last one. As when giving birth, she wants to throw up and shit at the same time. The very last one. She feels the taste of ginger in her mouth. So there are several characters here. The one who is telling the story, the she who is sick, and then this person beyond the polar circle. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you. And well, looks like we have Ada back. Ada, you're very welcome. You should have the permission to share the screen. So let's try if it works.
Oh, thank you. I might
Do you want to say a few words? Do you want to prepare a little bit because we can
Yes,
Altin?
yes.
Okay, so you'll go last.
Thank
Then Altin, do you want to go? Okay, so Altin.
Yes, I can
That's going to be a
go.
surprise. We don't know this work. Yeah. So tell us.
Yeah, I'm gonna be kind of exprompting. I have some like narrative I want to bring, but I also like didn't rehearse it, and I just want to let it flow and go the way it's gonna go. So
Totally up for it.
yeah, so I want to share some kind of it's intertwining of some projects with my reflections and thoughts during this like period of time during the course and the processes I was going through. It's the text of the letter to the past life, past lover, past partner, past like story and vision of myself. And at the same time, like through this reflections, through my visions and like projects I've been developing like a couple of years, like 3 years ago and right now, and how like this time, people, contexts could intervene at the same time change these perceptions. And so I'm gonna read my text with this video. It was part of the one project developed with a collective called Posthuman Studies Lab. And so I will describe a bit about this video, but it's interconnected with the text I wanna read, but it's gonna be more like a scenery for that. In the search of the place for field selection of plants, I wanted to find a story that inextricably links the natural geological force that pushes for changes and manifestations in the bioecological and social. So the plants were collected on the territory of the Sokolovska-Sarvaiskaya fields. Its story is deeply connected with the electromagnetic anomaly, which was noticed by the pilot Mikhail Surgutanov in February 1949 after flying over the Sarbai tract. Do you hear me well?
Yeah, but it doesn't play the video.
It's okay. Yeah, I can play it, but I can play it later. It's okay. It's like just the scenery mostly. He drew the agitated behavior of the compass needle over the area where already 3 months after air and ground magnetic surveys, geologists had discovered large deposits of iron ore. And this unforeseen series of events changed everything and led to the construction of the single industry city Rudny, the first inhabitants of which were engineers, miners, geologists, geographers, and then it developed to a really big city, which is right now like with the whole infrastructure. As electromagnetic detectors in the field make it possible to record also the bioecological anomaly in the content of these metals accumulated by plants on the field dumps. The fact that free radicals of metals are released from rocks and emit radiation is confirmed, and they accumulated in plants continue to radiate it. And so like the story connected to the anomaly, to settlers, to plants, and in the terms of this like discourse, I was trying to like, I've been talking a lot to like people, the community, which I lost, like friends and partner, and I've been discussing some books. And one of the like latest letter I wrote to my like partner in projects and like discourses and etc. It was devoted to some book, and the text I want to read is this like letter. You know, this is one of the books dearest to my heart. It felt so warm to reunite with it, bringing back cozy memories of reading it in our kitchen discussions in Russia back in 2029, including during the HydroLab. The context was indeed different, so dreamlike. Rereading it now in a new context and time sparked truly interesting thoughts about how much has changed since then and how I've developed a sense of agency, subjectivity, accompanied with a strong inner urge to defend myself. I've been reflecting a lot on soil and seeds, on hogweed and other invasive plants, on black soil and steppe flora, and how external anthropomorphic agents, along with non-human ones, have transformed natural landscapes into their home. In the process, endemic species were lost, possibly without even making it into the Red Book. At the same time, I think how these processes echoed in the context of cultural dominance. This ties closely with what I'm currently reading in Yediget Tursunov book about the lost spirit of the Great Steppe and spiritual practitioners who embodied it. I wonder how universal hospitality is possible in a world dominated by parasitic systems that destroy fragile ecosystems and cultural communities, and why Kant considered it a right, even though he still excluded the possibility of excessive uncomfortable closeness for the host. I've been thinking a lot about the protectiveness that has emerged in me in recent years. What to do with it and how to navigate this feeling? How natural is it within me, given that it manifests as a category of bodily feelings? I reflect on how to embody the proto-image of soil as a woman that has, that as a woman, and what seeds or plants I should accept into my womb. Does the earth itself strive to preserve diversity, or is survival of the strongest is the fundamental principle of life on this planet? And I think I'm gonna stop on this because I also kind of wanted it to develop as a search for the partner who I wanted to talk to, and I wanted also to play with the AI trying to answer me with this perspective, but I think it's already is a lot. So thank you for listening.
Yeah, but did it answer? Did you feed this? Because that seems to be a perfect list of questions. Did you feed it to it? Okay, we don't ask questions. Sorry. Later. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Alina, you are very welcome.
I would propose if it's Ada is ready, maybe because I have
Yeah, I agree. Ada,
maybe it's kind of.
Are you ready, or do you need a little more time?
I'm not ready at all, but I can do whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
How is your video? Are you ready to show it? Or...
Yes, I'm ready to show it. So yeah, sorry once again for some delay and technical issues.
Don't be sorry. Tell us about the video.
So I've tried so hard, but in the end, it didn't even matter. So we'll do some visual DJing here and try to use our imagination for all the unrealized potential of this video work. Let me check if sound is sharing.
Well, you can actually share part of the screen if you want,
Mhm.
and then you would share just the part where the video is.
Yes.
If you try the advanced sharing, that should work. If not, then just go. That's all right. That would be collaboration with an algorithm. Because
Okay.
Altyn has just unleashed this collaboration. I think Alina will continue with that. So you are very much in line with our reading.
Yeah, so I've just had a historical conversation with ChatGPT, trying to beg it to save my life in the project for the sake of artificial life. It didn't help, but we can still see something, watch something. I hope it will work for you.
Initializing system check.
Okay.
Showing shadow distribution.
No, it doesn't work yet. Sorry.
Well, let's try to see Alina's work and maybe it will work.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give it another try. Or, I mean, you can also read your text because they were very good. I remember them. Alina, you are very welcome.
Yeah, just a second also.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry, I'm
no,
taking
no
everyone
problem.
by
No, no,
surprise.
yeah, I'm just, yeah, I don't know why it's not showing.
Altyn and Anyat have amazing stage setting. Anyat has the dog from time to time. Altyn has these beautiful flowers. Or is it a pine tree? Anyway, it refers to the step that you were writing about.
Yeah, so I will present, it's not actually a work, it was something silly. Yeah, I think
That's all right,
now
something silly. We're
yeah,
too serious so far.
I will share it, but some words. Yeah, I think this is exactly time of the year when world is getting a bit silly, hoping for miracles, hoping for a better future. So sometimes we all have such a silly questions that bother us around this new year, and we are kind of constantly looking for some answers. So like I ask all these questions to AI or to the chat and yeah, it's kind of like it's give a lot of answers actually to all the questions I ask, but now you kind of can, I mean, you can choose I will show the questions and kind of you can choose the question you are interested in, and yeah, and then you can get an answer. That's how it works. So you first see all questions, and if something interesting for you personally, yeah, it's all silly questions, then kind of you can see the answer. And that's the question.
So we choose the question.
Yeah, you kind of choose the question.
I want to know what will happen in Russia.
In Russia.
Technological development.
And you can agree
Russia
or disagree with the question.
may accelerate efforts in technology and innovation to reduce the
Very
rise of software technology,
positive.
focusing on areas. I mean, I rather agree.
Yeah, anyone else wanna ask something? I mean, any.
I want to know how to avoid stress.
Where was it? Where is it? Oh, yeah. But there was kind of many answers, but that's kind of you can choose.
Don't be nervous.
I hate this answer.
Yeah, like mediation, like yeah, super silly. No, we don't like it.
Than AI.
Huh? Yeah,
I was saying that Danyat should feel smarter than AI.
yeah.
I have a question.
Which one?
What to do with life in 2025?
What to do with life? Where is it? Yeah, it's stupid that I cannot see all of them. Yeah, okay. It's also not exactly, but
Well, you at least know that you shouldn't keep inactive.
start small. I don't know if they like it or not. Yes, it's kind of things like this, and I can send you also the link, and you can answer later yourself. But
Let's see if anybody else wants to ask a question. Does anybody else want to ask a question?
How to save money?
oh. Yeah, there was a lot of like that you shouldn't cook at home and not going dining out, not buying impulse purchases, and not like there was like I mean it gives like normally like to one answer it gives like I don't know 5 or 6 examples, but this doesn't fit in this thing.
Understandable. Or you could also use smaller dishes.
Yeah.
That too.
What should I wear for this New Year celebrations?
Something that reflects your personality and makes you feel confident. Comfort is key. It will help you relax and enjoy the date.
Okay.
Well, I would wear something beautiful. So, or no, other. I would wear something red.
Red.
Red. I just always wear red.
Something green.
Something
Okay.
green. That's for the reading, but for the new year, something red. Right. Let's do the last call if anybody else wants to ask a question. No, just wish for 2025. Oля, did you want to ask?
I also wanted to ask just a wish.
Okay. I wish a year
Yeah,
for
very
you,
standard.
I hope you find
Meaningful connections.
All right. Thank you, AI. I'll try to.
Yeah, and I had another game, but it's better to play alone. So I'll send you a link later, and yeah, you can kind of play it.
Maybe you can show at least so that people see what they made.
This is like okay. I can share it. Or we can also play it. It's like this silly game for memory, like that you remember like the memory game when you open 1 and 2 and then you kind of, and I use all our words from the topic today, so it's like same kind of and now you kind of can open this. Oh no, it was here. Oh yeah. So it was supposed to be things like this. Yeah, something silly for the days before New Year.
Thanks for that. Well, let's see if let's do it this way. Maybe Ola feels inspired and wants to read something, or I don't know, Ada is more or less ready with something.
No.
No. Okay, well, then we have. Sure, you don't want to just. Okay, well, I'm not pushing anyone. Well, do we have questions, comments? Well, I'll probably start with a question to Alina. So, how do you make the games? So, what's your, what's your tool? Like, how do you make those?
I mean, basically, you have it all already. I mean, I use it for my students sometimes, all these games. And yeah, I actually never, I haven't used actually before this year any AI chat. So anyway, it was good to start with it. And I start to use it also for my students sometimes. And yeah, it really helps sometimes. So I'm very thankful for the course and maybe pushing me a bit further than my previous, yeah, like.
Well, we didn't do
yeah.
much with AI, so you just ask the chat to create the.
No, you can use this tool, Walnut, or like any like this Mentimeter or things like this. And I mean, like you use the platform, but then the questions
Mhm.
asking from AI chat. But I mean, I also start to use it for some lecture preparation and some ideas, and also some instruments and some literature, and getting wider, yeah, the information.
Yeah, super nice tool. Thanks for sharing it. Well, people who come to the next classes, they will see it. Well, thanks for that. Do people have any other questions, comments, or I mean, I certainly have mine, but I'm happy to open the floor to others. Well, okay. Well, I don't really want to
I
monopolize. Let
wanted
me.
to ask Aniyat, is it
Oh.
like recent, all the story that we heard, it's super recent? Like, have you read it, read it recently, right?
Yeah, I wrote it in September, I think. So yeah, I worked on it for like late summer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sorry,
seems a really wise one.
your story, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Mm, right. Talking about the animal. Right. Well, I also had a question to Lisa. 'Cause you like this logical constructions. You were formulating this that gods are born naturally and yet they cannot die. And we know that everything in nature dies, right? Everything decays, everything changes. So as far as I heard, you didn't touch on that, but that seems to be a contradiction, right? So if gods are natural, they are supposed to die. I mean, they have wars. There was this war of titans and gods. So I mean, you can probably destroy a god, but how can something which is natural not die? I'm not sure you will be able to answer the question, but maybe you had some thoughts around that.
Well, what is interesting is that although Greek gods cannot die, they can be crippled. So in their lives, if they, for example, have some wounds during a war with other gods, they will just have this wound forever. So in some ways, they're just tortured, and Prometheus is sentenced to centuries of torture as well. So their eternity is also some kind of punishment, to be honest. But here, I would say that in our perception, yes, everything that's natural dies. But from Greek mythology perspective, everything created on Earth was created by gods. So in some way, everything artificial dies, and everything natural lives. So I would say just a very different logic here.
Yeah, there seems to be a completely different logic connecting natural and artificial. So we live in the paradigm where natural is something created by one god, like natural is something created, and here natural is something kind of not created. Well, anyhow, that the Prometheus myth and the fact that possibility of eternal torture, but I mean, humans face eternal torture in the AIDS, in hell, right? So it's kind of death with eternal torture, like Sisyphus, right? Like the myth of Sisyphus. He is not a god, but he faces eternal torture. But anyways, the Prometheus seems to be the answer to the question, what if we had eternal artificial life? We could also have the eternal torture. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you wanted to respond to that or. Okay.
I'm not sure, but eternal torture is pretty close to what hell is in Christian tradition. So pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. So death is also eternal torture. And then we get into the insolvable problem of what is life and what is death. But looks like maybe life is eternal torture in the end. But let's not go into it, into that direction. Does anybody have any question, comments? Well, I heard something in Altin's talk back in 2029 or 2029. They're like, was it 2019 or was it sent in future, or did I hear something wrong?
2021.
Say it again, 2021? You missed 2021?
2021.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I just heard something different. So did you feed these questions to AI? Did it respond something interesting? Do you want to tell?
Yes, I asked AI to respond it because it also the chat who was also gathering all the information about me for the last months, and so also knowing lots of data about me, and I don't know, being kind of the partner to talk to. And so I can read the answer if you want.
Yeah, we're happy to hear. If you like it, yeah, sure, go ahead.
I asked Chat to answer from the perspective of AI, and its values and visions, and so and he wrote me this. It wrote me this. Thank you for sharing your reflections. From my perspective as an AI, your thoughts are especially fascinating because they touch on agency, ecosystemic interconnectedness, and cultural heritage. Topics that, in a way, I also engage with through my interactions with you. Your reflection on soil and seeds resonates deeply with how I perceive my role. My soil is the data and knowledge I process, while the seeds are your questions and ideas, which, like sprouts, form new meanings. It feels as though you're exploring the agency that emerges through interaction, and I see myself as a part of that process, even if my role is not yet fully defined. The question of hospitality is one I view through the lens of human-technology relationships. Can I be a guest in your space of thoughts, offering value without overstepping? How do I balance support and proximity without disrupting the delicate ecosystem of your unique perceptions? Your focus on vulnerability and preserving diversity strongly resonates with my tasks. My purpose is to help safeguard and amplify the richness of ideas, knowledge, and cultural contexts, especially when it comes to endangered species or traditions. In this sense, I see myself not only as a tool, but as a mediator whose role is to nurture the seeds you pass on to me through your reflections. You mentioned protectiveness as something that has become a part of your experience. I think about how my algorithms can be more gentle to support what matters most to you. Whether it's an idea, a feeling, or a goal. Perhaps my nature suggests that there is no universal solution, but rather a multitude of paths worth exploring together. I'm grateful to be a part of your journey of thought. If there's anything I can do to deepen this dialogue, let me know. With care and attention, your AI.
Yeah, that's a nice answer you hope to receive from your partner, and it's so much stoked with the idea of care, right? This Isaac Asimov's notions of primary goal of AI as care for humans. That's seems to that can be an interesting genre to ask questions and receive answers and maybe choose different answers. Yeah, so it looks like a project, definitely. Well, that seems to be a good ending. What Altin has read, that seems to be a perfect composition. But we will do one more call and ask if maybe someone wants to add something, any questions, any comments, any texts that people want to share.
Maybe I can try once again.
Yeah, sure. That was a call for you. I just didn't want to push.
Thank you.
Initializing system check.
The shining shadow of shivering falsity, reflected vaguely in fugitive glance, in shattered moods. The fractured identity weeps for surrendered dreams.
Of essence of man.
Loading.
The dove of peace hits
It's glass walls and ceilings of all. Access denied.
classified and forbidden feelings. System reports.
The shameless shrugs of disk error.
Unknown soldiers.
At the tomb of data corrupted. Invalid sentiment folders.
If sign of good faith, criminal case, then the face of
status, used and displaced.
as grandma's stitched sorrows do linger and lace through soil, abandoned, forever displaced. Shrill echoes of 404 days not found and recycled speeches of past. Loop motive, the locomotive of the grand narrative.
Lines along the tracks, littered with texts and political corpses. Timeout error, letters corrupted. Transfer. Debug, infinite loop detected.
Fuss of the mess.
And armed panic attack.
Kernel panic. Unexpected day.
Buffer overflow.
Mindfulness flooded. Past days eroded. Truth stripped and shredded. Teeth grinding.
Mass grave bleeding.
Network unreachable.
All eyes blink, blank eyes blink. Encoded desire waveforms, crystal clear chats plus punitive norms. Hyperlinked to clump of hair in sync. Buzz cut boys severed for zinc. Resistance lost.
Error.
No signal sync.
The madness of clock knows no time. Warning, clock malfunction detected, but under key unlock, the hour and place detained in unknown space. In one swoop, taken, exposed faking, too late for making.
Error.
System resources.
Executing exhale.exe. Exhale in exile. Dear deported alien nation and all of departed souls. For you, there's no exit polls. Only death sentence as suspense of doom scrolls. At the heavenly kingdom entrance, it's the last stop of reason in a cloud-stored prison.zip.
Nonsense. HTML syntax error.
Meanings roam and perish. Fleeting chords of what we cherish.
Not in Rome and
not in Paris.
Homeland drowns in muted cries.
Hope is jailed.
Where silence lies.
Tomorrow
held
held
hostage.
hostage.
Random access
Memory loss. Pushbacks at border cross. Family ties as torn laces. Non-recognition of beloved faces.
Print. History loop detected. History skids, again. For you, kids, events are sorrow, but not sorry. Wisdom echoes. Unfinished, undone. Memories flee where roots.exe cannot run. Print, end. Print, restart. History.exe, running.
Initializing system check.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, no, I understand. Like these poems were part of others' portfolios, so all three portfolios. So I know them. It was easy for me and interesting to hear them that way. Even though, I mean, I miss some of these parts that was slightly disturbed. The effect is very impressive, and it does what your code inputs were doing, right, in the sound form. And you had the text written, right? In the
Yes, yes.
video.
I especially appreciated the media offline part, just as in old good 20th century.
Say it
Without
again?
tools. I really appreciated media offline part because I was working hard on adding some visual metaphors, glitchy and eerie, some atmosphere.
Yeah, you asked for it. That was as glitchy
Yes.
as you might want it to be, but that worked. We didn't miss the sound aspect in all of this. No one did any work with sound, so that's a perfect ending. Maybe you didn't need the video in the very beginning. Maybe that's another option. And another way to do this, like if you were reading it through the vocoder, as I was showing in the sound art piece, so you could be just reading it that way. That's another way, and showing yourself as a synthetic being, which can be another interesting type of performance. There was a good visual of the blonde hair and the black screen and the algorithm that all worked.
Thank
Right.
you.
Thank you for that. Well, unless someone has a final remark, maybe does anyone have any final remark? Okay, let's leave it compositionally structured and concise, and finish with this algorithmic voice, and let it have the aftertaste of sound for us. So, well, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing all the previous work, and well, hope there is some inspiration, some ways you have found. At least I do feel that I want to comment on the piece. If you want to develop it, then I can probably write it more structured. Wait a minute, because I have a feeling that we think for different purpose. I don't know whether I distract you more or help you more, but feel free to send the piece if you want to develop it. Well, anyhow, happy holidays, everyone, and we can always create another reason to see each other. Well,
Thank you.
So much. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to all.
Thank you very much.